Wow, what wonderful shots from the Mother City, which plays host to the world's most beautiful marathon. You're watching the Old Mutual Two Oceans Marathon, the 44th edition. Most importantly this morning, as we come to you live, is the fact that there is 0% chance of rain. And what that means is that people will actually be running the Two Oceans Marathon this year and not swimming it, as we saw in last year's edition. Of course, there is a strong wind that is gusting, and that is what many people are speaking about today. 45 to 60 kilometer per hour wind that everybody is chatting about. Of course, it is Cape Town, so the weather is always unpredictable, but we're looking forward to no rain. Hello and a very warm welcome to our broadcast of the Old Mutual Two Oceans Marathon. My name is Valen Curti, and it's great to be in your company. Happy to report, when it comes to the 21 kilometers as well as the 56 kilometers, all of the defending champions are back and they are out to defend their titles. There's also talk about records over the 21.1 kilometer distance. So this is a record field that is going to be taking part in this race. Today we're going to see over 20,000 people take to the roads here in Cape Town. We have got an expert team that is going to be keeping you company, bringing you all of the updates through the road and through the race. But we've also got Vasiwe, who is at the start line. Vasiwe, we've spoken a little bit about the weather conditions, but out on the road at the start, what's it looking like?
Oh, good morning, Valen, and thank you so much for tuning in South Africa. It is the 2013 edition of the Two Oceans Marathon. Now, Valen, the conditions out here, it is quite a bit chilly, but you must remember that I am from Johannesburg, but the runners here at the start line seem to be really, really happy about how the conditions are looking. And as you've already mentioned, there are no chances of rain today, so at least people will not have to swim the marathon this year. But I am standing here with some of the athletes that will be running just to find out how this experience and also just the training coming up to the marathon has been from them. Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Good.
Okay, now tell us, what is your name and how many times have you actually taken part in the Two Oceans?
My name is Louis, and yeah, it's just amazing to be able to be out here and to wake up. Sometimes I think we're lunatics waking up 4 o'clock in the morning, and together with 16,000 other lunatics coming to stand here and do this wonderful race. But it's a huge privilege to be able to be fit enough to run, to be able to be healthy, and to be able to do sports. And running is just one of those wonderful things that you can enjoy that in.
Yes. Waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, very early. But what I mean, from when you go to Sweet Kitchen, Two Oceans Marathon.
I goes too much. Yeah.
Even Jan for when you walk
from the very first time. Yeah, so on this for the second time. So it's got a phone back and phone is listening 1 hour 20 or 1 hour 25 in sharp.
Okay, there we go. You want and finish it in 1 hour 20 or 1 hour 25 minutes. And I've got the beautiful lady on my right here. Hello, how are you doing?
I'm excellent, thank you.
I'm very well, thanks. What is your name?
I'm Lauren.
And Lauren, how many times have you taken part in the Two Oceans?
This is my second time around, so my first time was last year's disaster with the typhoon season that hit us. So this time's already looking like it's off to a better start. So.
And how long did it take you to finish last year?
We don't talk about last year. Last year I have a race from my memory, but this time it's for real. This time we're doing it all systems go. So.
And what goals have you set for yourself?
It would be amazing to get about a sub 140, but we're gonna just give it our all and just really try and enjoy the race and not worry too much about time, because it's an amazing privilege to be here and it's a wonderful run, and getting too obsessed with time takes the joy away sometimes. So yeah,
very true. And lastly, we have a gentleman here to my right. Good morning, how are you today?
Good morning, I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, now you've also taken part in the Two Oceans before. Now tell us just like the preparations that you go through to get ready for this marathon.
Well, I do half marathons as a sport with part of UCT, so for me this is just another race, and I try to tell myself it's the other race, but it's Oceans at the end of the day, so a lot of hype and a lot of nerves go around it, but at the end of the day this is like my normal Saturday morning.
And now tell us, you're doing the 21 kilometers, any prospects of you taking part in the ultra marathon soon?
I want to do the Comrades maybe next year, but we'll see whether or not the legs can take it, and I've got the time to do it with my studies.
Okay, well, there we go. Some of the runners that will be taking part in this year's edition of the Oceans Marathon, 2 Oceans Marathon rather. It seems like it's going to be really, really exciting. And as Valen has already mentioned, we have all the defending champions taking part this year. And of course, they will be looking to defend their titles. But that is it from me, Uvusiwe Intokazeko Ngcobo, coming to you from the start line. And it's back to you, Valen.
Thank you very much to Visiwe. Yeah, I think that when it comes to waking up in the morning as a runner, you just like coming to the races because you realize that it's not just you that's crazy and getting up at 5 a.m. in the morning. With me in the studio, I've got a former winner of the Ultra Marathon here in Cape Town, and that is William Tolo, as well as a man that has done the 2 Oceans Half Marathon a total of 4 times. Kuhn, what, 3 silvers and a bronze medal?
Yes, that's right.
All right, lovely stuff. Good to have you guys here. And of course, we're going to start speaking about the half marathon, because as much as the 2 Oceans is an iconic event because of the ultra, the half marathon really has become a marquee event for many runners around the country, and it's also helping to feed those runners into the ultra. It's a new course that they ran last year. That means new records, but in those conditions, easy times to break. When it comes to our defending champions, they are going to break those records, but can they defend their titles is the question.
Yeah, Valen, I think it's not going to be easy to defend the title, because when you look at the field, it's a very strong teams. We've got Mkoka, we've got Lucky Mohale, and siyacabanga ukuthi ene ngendlela i-team strong ngayo i-record ngase-break. Although there's a wind, but I don't think it will affect that much, because the old record, I mean the record is 104, and those guys they run 61, 62. So I'm sure they will run if they run 63, there will be a record. And I think they will run 63 minutes because the field is very strong.
Xolisa Charlie was saying yesterday, he's the defending champion on the men's side, and he was saying you got to watch out for Stephen Mokoka, Desmond, as well as Lesotho April. Who's your favourite?
I would agree with Willie and go with Stephen Mokoka. He's got a good pedigree when running in Cape Town. He actually ran his PB, as Willie said, 60:58, and that was on a windy day like this last year in Cape Town. So I'd go with Stephen Mokoka, but you can never, knock out the defending champions. And the defending champions from the previous 5 years are here in the field today. So this is almost doubles up, almost like an SA Championships. It's such a deep field.
She was, and it is really a field that you look at and you say there's going to be tough competition coming from all areas. We've put together a list of some of the elite athletes that are going to be taking part in the race. Let's take a look at the men's field. Stephen Mokoka, we've already mentioned. Who are the other guys that you may see as a dark horse that could come and upset Stephen or Xolisa?
Well, you've got the guys like Lucky Mohale. He came 3rd here last year. Desmond Mokokobu, who last week represented South Africa in the World Cross Country Championships in Poland. So on a day like today, this is quite sunny for him. You know, last week they had all those snow conditions. But other guys like Lewis Masunda from Zimbabwe, he's a previous winner here as well. And Joel Mone, a new kid on the block who also represented South Africa last week. And it's quite an interesting field this year. And I definitely think we're going to be seeing a course record today, even though that there's a lot of wind.
All right, now, Xolisa was saying yesterday that it is going to be a 61 or a 62 that's actually going to win it. That's the time that you're going to have to run in order to be able to beat this field. What do you think the time's going to be today?
I think to run 61 is going to be difficult because the wind is blowing. But because of the field, very strong teams, I think they will run at least 62, 63. If they run 62, 61, I mean, there will be a bonus for them, because the old record was 61. But if we look at the wind, it's going to be difficult to run 61 minutes, definitely.
All right, lots of people going for that record, as well as the first prize money of 25,000 Rand. We've spoken about the men. Let's speak a little bit about the women. Renee Kalma is the defending champion.
Yes, Renee, back to defend her title. She ran 75:02 here, so that's the course record that the women will be looking at this year. But strong field there. Another lady, Vet van Zyl, not on that list, but she is here today. She's been runner-up here a few times. But the in-form Rutendo Nyahora, who last week won the Spa Ladies 10K here in Cape Town, so she's going to be one of the ladies to watch today.
Well, Renee and Yvette were saying that they want to actually work as a team. They usually come 1-2. They want to work as a team just to make sure that Rutendo doesn't take it away from them. But then that means that they forget about the rest of the field.
Yeah, you know, even when we got to the women records, I mean the teams, there's a very strong teams because sinaband lana abaqhamuka Kenya and the Ethiopians, and if ngase kuwine lapha eSouth Africa singejabula kakhulu, although siyazi ukuthi uRene Kamna uyena owade wine last year, but nakuyena futhi kuzoba nzima, but I think they also got a chance of break the record. The women will break the record as well.
All right, now we've been speaking a lot about what's going to be happening when it comes to the record in the 21 kilometers today, which really does look like it's going to be broken because they took all of last year's time in those very wet conditions and set them as records because they were, of course, running a new course. But everybody's speaking about a record in the Ultra for next year. Why? Because Old Mutual have said that they will give a 1 million rand to the man that can break Thompson Magawana's 1988 course record over 56 kilometers, and 1 million rand to a woman if they can break Frith van der Merwe's 1989 women's record. So there's been lots of talk about the money that Old Mutual have been putting up for the records for next year. There's lots of excitement, and it also means that they're going to be attracting people. They put their money where their mouth is. And when you put your money where your mouth is, you have to grow the passion for the sport of road running. And that's exactly what Old Mutual have been doing. Take a look.
The campaign has really started last year when we realized as Old Mutual that we have a great running community in South Africa. And that the community had many things in common, which was to share an experience, but at the same time provided an opportunity for us to do good. And for us at that stage, we started talking about the need for us to do good while doing good for ourselves. And we spoke about the Run for More Than Yourself campaign. And at that stage, our focus was really about focusing on maths and science education, which we thought was a real national priority. And how do we get normal South Africans to participate in nation building through the support of people who are less privileged than themselves. So that was the genesis of the campaign, and actually last year when we ran it, just focused on Run for More Than Yourself. And we were able to raise over R1 million worth of contributions to support the LEAP maths and science schools. We started last year when we had the Run for More Than Yourself campaign, which was really an initiative to support the expansion of the LEAP maths and science schools in South Africa. The focus for those schools is really about taking ordinary South Africans from less privileged backgrounds and giving them the best quality education possible. And we figured that by linking the fundraising that naturally goes with running and races, us as Old Mutual could create this brand, which is really about ordinary South Africans being involved in nation building, i.e. giving a little bit of themselves to help others who are less privileged. So that's where we started. So if we take, for example, what we did last year, we had a campaign where people could actually register and put forward whatever they can contribute. And that money was obviously held in some trust and was then passed on to the good cause, which last year was really focused on the LEAP maths and science. So we got South Africans, ordinary South Africans, either as runners or people supporting people who are running to contribute. And we were able to then give the money to the good cause. So in the case of the LEAP Maths and Science School, we were able to open 2 new schools, one in Garankuwa, here in the Gauteng area, and then the other one was actually in Jane Fez, which is in the Limpopo area. So that funding was able to actually kickstart 2 new LEAP schools within South Africa. This year we've expanded the good cause group. As I said, last year was focused on LEAP Maths and Science, which is really an education focus. So this year we've actually expanded to not just education, but HIV and AIDS, frail care for the elderly, and people specifically who believe in the cause for supporting endangered species, endangered animals. So we've broadened it to appeal to a much broader base of individuals who feel quite passionate about certain areas of our society where our people are less privileged or there's less infrastructure. So there's a much broader area. I mean, for myself, I'll still remain focused personally on the maths and science education stream because that's where my passion is. Everybody can donate. This year we've got record entries in all the formats of the Two Oceans, Old Mutual Two Oceans Marathon. So in the trail run we have over 1,000 competitors. The 21 kilometer race. We have got over 17,000 participants, and the 56 ultra marathon, as things stand at the moment, we've got over 11,000 participants. So all those participants, can get involved in this campaign, but people outside of the participants, they can sponsor on behalf of runners or just purely on their own, to support the good cause. And as I said, last year we had R1 million, and we're looking obviously this year to beat that contribution of funding for these good causes.
All right, and that's what it's also about, is getting people involved, getting people passionate to ensure the longevity of the sport here in South Africa. But we've spoken about this R1 million, unprecedented. I suppose it came as a little bit of a shock when they did announce it, that we were all kind of like, oh, why isn't it this year? And a lot of the elite athletes that were sitting in the press conference too, they thought, oh man, if it was only this year, we'd all really be going for the record. But it is, of course, R1 million up next year. To put up that much money, it's going to be bringing some top-class athletes. Oh yes, definitely. We'll see a lot of top athletes coming to run the Ocean next year. Definitely, I've no doubt with that. But that 303 record is not very easy, and Cape Town can be windy, and we need a very strong team. Because remember, when Thompson Magawana ran that record in 1988, that record is a very old record. It's been there for quite long times. And they have to run it, but definitely sure that we will have a lot of top athletes coming to run for the race. All right, and that's Thompson Magawana's record of 303, and Frith van der Merwe's record as well. In that race in 1989, she came 22nd overall in the race. I mean, it's a run that's fabled in road running folklore here in the country. Do you think a woman can break that, Kieran?
It's a
even
really
for R1 million.
for R1 million, it's as Willie mentioned, it's all dependent on the weather. But I think with bonuses like that on offer, you're going to start seeing some of the foreign women with 2:20 marathons, 2:25 marathons, which is around 5 minutes quicker than the Russian twins who have dominated this race for the last 7 years. So I definitely think we're going to be seeing some phenomenal times next year, barring the weather. That's going to be the major factor.
Yeah, when it comes to Cape Town, we always speak about the weather. Today, it is a blustery southeaster that will be hitting the runners out on the course. We're building up towards the start of the half marathon and then on to the 56 kilometers here on SABC2, coming to you live. Don't go anywhere. We're taking a break.